since Monday.
Well, we all got problems.
Yes. All right, the meeting is called to order. And, we have a quorum, how nice. Has everyone reviewed the minutes of the September meeting?
I move that they be approved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Oh, that's very easy. Okay, having a little trouble with the new format. Public.
Changed.
Would our adoring public like to say anything? Oh, there's no public. Oh, there's Linda, who is our official representative of everything else. Old business. Don't seem to have any, and director and her Aspis posts.
Yeah,
would-
I don't.
Really?
You know what? Nancy did that. Yeah.
And to those who cannot read the agenda online, it's an ampersand APOS semicolon S. We're not sure who that is. We will now have the director's report.
Okay. Do I need to click on all these documents so you can see them?
No, we
or-
can bring up the documents
We can-
individually.
All right. Let me go through my report first.
And then if you'd like to refer us to one of the documents.
I will eventually. Yeah. So, did I get these to you guys ahead of time, right? Okay. So you know that we've snagged Cheryl Strayed, the author of Wild, and we just got the officially signed contract actually yesterday. I mean, I signed it, sent it to them. They sent me back the signed contract. So that's good. And then that cost is being split by the Friends. So that's between the Friends and the library, which is great of the Friends, and I really appreciate it. Thank you, Friends. And we will have extra copies of those books. Do you remember how many we're going to get? Okay. I think we promised him a certain number, so we need to look at that contract. But we had talked about that number first, so don't panic. And then the film series will start Friday, November the 2nd. And it's a First Friday film series, so it will be November through March. And the first one is called King Corn, which, have you heard of that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I just watched it this week, and I really enjoyed it because it seems like it makes a message about the food industry without really, it's a little more gentle than some of the other films, let me say. And the people involved are very respectful of all the other people involved, which I liked a lot. So we will serve light refreshments, and of course including popcorn. And our facilitator, we will have a facilitator at each film. And the English department, Trista Cornelius of the English department, who has helped us out before, will be the first facilitator, and she's put us in touch with some other people up at Clackamas Community College. So our second film is about a man, it's called A Man Named Pearl, and he does amazing, outrageous topiaries with no training.
I love that movie.
I love it too. That's why we're having it right before Christmas, because it's just so uplifting. It's so uplifting. It's just great. And so one of their horticulture instructors will be our facilitator for that conversation. And then in February, I think it is, we have Capitalism, a Love Story. And that's going to be facilitated by Bill Waters, who is in their business department. So, and then I've invited Vicki Yates, who, as you know, is an attorney and owns Singer Hill, to facilitate our conversation over hot coffee, which is in January. And so, and she will if she's in town. She's willing to do it if she's in town. I think she'll do a great job. But that movie is really, really interesting, and was also actually done by an attorney from Ashland who learned all about movie making just to tell that story. And anyway, so that's going along swimmingly, and they're all going to be at the Pioneer Community Center. And so the costs are going to be split. They're getting a really nice new, beautiful system put in just for this. They needed it, so it was a good excuse and opportunity. So that's going great. And then in February, we did get our proposal or our request from the Oregon Humanities conversation project. We got that awarded, and we will be having a speaker who will address the topic From Print to Pixels, the Act of Reading in the Digital Age, which I am really, really interested in. Like, does literacy and our concept of literacy change when we start reading everything from screens? Do you know? There's a lot to think about there. Yeah. And then Paul Ann Peterson, my favorite, most awesomest poet laureate in the world, I think, because she just makes poetry so accessible and is so giving to all of us, has agreed to judge a poetry contest, which we will have about trees for National Arbor Day during National Poetry Month. And she will also be here in November for a poetry workshop on November 17th and a library event on November the 15th. And then our conversations about the library standards for Oregon, public library standards, have started with a kind of a statewide group. We cast a net and we got about 10 people from yonder parts of the state, which is awesome, and all kinds of libraries, which is really good, so that when we go to revise these things, we're not just looking at it from one angle or another, because there's so many different kinds of libraries. So I'm leading up the group on the space standard, which of course is why I got involved. And this promises to be a really, really interesting process. Yes. The Public Library Division Board, the Board of the Public Library Division of Oregon Library Association. Yeah. Of which I am secretary. So, like, you can only imagine my minutes from that meeting, which was all day long. It was like 7 pages long, yeah. Because we're going to post everything and make it really available as much as possible to the rest of the library community, and so I wanted to be like include everything so they could follow our thought process, you know. So, so that's really interesting. And Laura is not here today because she has a sick little one who, I mean, she just found out he was sick like 2 hours ago and had to rush home. But I visited her at Oregon Episcopal School where she works and saw her in action as she taught a class on the Dewey Decimal System using an iPad. And she created like her own little ebook on this iPad, and embedded in it was like a little recording, a little film of one of the teachers there and what the Dewey Decimal System has meant to him. And it was pretty smart alecky response, but it was very cute. And then also embedded was like a touch screen quiz and text that they read, you know, out loud. And she just did such a great job. She's the primary school librarian, and they have 3 libraries there. And who's the guy that's the high school librarian? Chris Myers is the high school one, and he used to actually work at Oregon City Library back when before he got his degree. And it's a great operation. If I had a kid, I would want to spend a lot of money and put them there, because you would be spending $20,000 a year. But they have a limit of 18 kids per class, and they are doing a lot of using a lot of technology in the classroom, which is what I really wanted to see, is how the people who can are using it. And actually, they get to a certain age where they actually assign each kid their own device, whatever, it's iPad or a laptop or whatever, and the kids get to take it home back and forth.
How old are these children?
Well, they use them in the classroom, like starting in 2nd and 3rd grade. Yeah.
So like 10 to 13?
No, like 7 to 8.
They go to
7 to 8.
they go to high school, right?
Yeah, I think it's kindergarten through.
Oh, it's K through 12. I'm sorry,
K through
Dawn.
12.
Yeah, it's K through 12. But the technology for, like, they were teaching a typing class using iPads. Everybody had an iPad or a tablet equivalent of an iPad, and that was 3rd grade. It was remarkable. Yeah. And so I bookended that visit with, that visit bookended a trip to our high school library at Oregon City, which was most impressive. Doug Stuhl is out there. He's also the football coach. He's very knowledgeable. He's way on top of things. He's got amazing resources in the library. And a lecture at Lewis and Clark where the conversation was about national research done on technology in K through 12, or what K through 12 kids expect technology in the classroom to be. And what they expect and what they're receiving is like this far apart. Yeah. And if you ever want to raise an interesting conversation with Larry Didway or Ted Thonstad, ask them about technology in the classroom, because I asked them if he knew about that research, and he said, yeah, schools need to change, essentially is what he said. So there's some big, like I would say a revolution in education because of technology. And I think it's just kind of getting to that tipping point, you know. So the reason I'm interested in is not just to know what's going on at schools and what our, you know, colleagues in schools, of which there are very few, especially at the lower levels, is the problem. What they're doing, but also like, well, what does this mean for public libraries? And I don't have a lot of answers right now, but if I don't know what's going on, then I can't even really ask the question knowledgeably.
The reason I was asking, we just finished our survey here, but we didn't get very many young people.
We did not, and I really wanted to raise that when we start talking about the survey.
I'm wondering if,
Yeah.
if some of these students could be a focus group for us to talk about what these expectations are.
Yeah.
Good idea.
It might be a great idea. Yeah.
Huh.
So anyway,
Interesting.
fascinating stuff going on out there in the schools.
Can I ask?
Yeah.
What did you mean, Don? Which students did you think were you mentioning?
Well, when I was listening to the story here, it sounded like they were little tiny bitsy kids doing stuff that I don't even know how to do yet.
They were little
And-
tiny bitsy
Okay,
kids.
thank you.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, wow, these are students who might go to a library if it was interesting for them, but it doesn't sound like our libraries would be interesting for them because they're kind of old-fashioned. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you've hit the nail on the head. That and like, how can we support our schools? You know, because the schools do not have librarians. You know, in middle school and elementary school, they have clerks who have absolutely no time to provide. You know, and that's not to say that things aren't going on in classrooms here and there, as teachers and schools can provide it. But the public schools, you know, are not going to be like Oregon Episcopal School. You
Well,
know?
I've just finished breaking out the questions by age groups, and to an age group, this is under 20, 20 to 30, 30 to 40, you can figure out the rest of it. They all, if they've spent the money, what would you like to buy for the library? It's books.
Books.
It isn't e-books, it's books.
Yeah.
And it's like $50 to $60 of that $100 they're supposed to spend as books. So
Well-
I don't know if that's just the current mindset, or is that going to change in the next
yeah,
couple
and
of years?
we can dive more into this a little bit, but if we do focus groups, I want to get some parents, because that survey also said they didn't think story time was that important, and I have to tell you that, you know, our story time attendance is like huge, and I just don't think any of those parents have time to fill out questionnaires. You know, number
Yeah.
one, and they just, you know, they didn't. So anyway, let me just finish this up
Okay,
really fast.
go ahead.
And our first, you guys all got our first test email newsletter?
Yes.
Okay, A-okay? You didn't get it?
I don't think so.
I did.
Really? Okay, I'll make sure that you,
I also didn't get your reports. I got an agenda, something that, you know, you sent out something or an
Yeah.
attachment, and I only had the agenda.
okay.
Did the rest of you get the reports?
Yep.
You did.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Check your junk mail. Sometimes your spam filter does odd things.
Yeah, let me know if you find it in
Okay.
your junk. But
Yeah.
I will send the email newsletter to Brian.
It was good, Brian. So I didn't see it.
So I missed it.
You were featured.
Yeah. It was all about you, Brian. And then, so I think I kind of made a soft decision to start sending it out once a month. You know, and it may not have very many things in it, but it's a joint newsletter of the Friends and the Foundation. And, you know, the more often we send it out, the shorter we can keep it. And, you know, people don't really like to scroll a whole bunch and all that stuff. So we can just kind of keep it in front of them as like what's going on with the library often. Then, you know, for that group, it'll be good.
Well done, very colorful.
Thank you. Ingrid is in large part to thank for
Is that a
that.
place where we might report our survey results?
Yeah, that might be an excellent place for it.
How big is our mailing thing.
Right now, it's like 20 people, so we might want to wait.
You might want to wait a little bit.
You know, Facebook, actually, we have like 440 or something. I mean, it's way more.
Oh, we could do it there too. We could link it up. Right?
Yeah, and the website, yeah.
Why did you only send it to 20? Were you just sending it to people who specifically said they'd want to see it?
Well, we only had like, I haven't been really signing people up for it at the library. I haven't been actively
Don't they
signing
have
people
with their
up.
card registration, have their?
We have not asked that because we have not had a newsletter to ask them to do it.
Well, and they have to
Oh,
sign up.
oh.
They have to
And we
sign
can't
up
just-
too. You can't just call email addresses you have. They have to
Okay.
specifically
Yeah.
sign up and get
But since
permission.
most of us get our information, our communication from the library through email, that we have, you know, I thought that.
Well, our new applications are going to have a checkbox on there. That's all you'll have to do is check it, and then we'll add those people.
Yeah.
But you know, as soon as I just get my act together, we also have little cards that we're going to have at the checkout stand, so that people who already have cards can just fill that out and give it to us, and then they'll be signed up as well.
Great.
But I just registered you guys whether you wanted to or not, because I figured you're library board members and you have no choice.
That's right.
So, and you'd want to be signed up. So I did you guys, I did the Friends board, and then I did like the 5 people that it's already on our website, but we've kind of buried it until we wanted to put it up a little further. So now we'll move that up and, you know, get more going on that. So that's the newsletter. And then I joined Rotary, which has been very interesting. Great group of people. Really, really great group of people. Lots of rules. But I did a presentation last week about me and the library, because you kind of need to do both over time. And so I just combined it. I'm sure it was fascinating.
I have heard rave reviews.
I knew you probably had. I knew it was probably all over town. But it went well, and I just wanted to kind of plant the seeds with them also about, you know, libraries, and, you know, we can hit up this group at some point. There's lots of really good people and educators and all kinds of people in this that are just going to be really great. So that's that. You see the statistics. Then the monthly statistics, I need to relook at these because I made a statement about our foot traffic and our circulation, and I may have lied.
And actually, Mo, you're flipped. The annual state library report is where our monthly statistics are,
So it
and
is.
Oh,
vice
okay.
versa.
So
All right.
it is.
So if you click on the annual state library report, you'll see our
It's
statistics.
just a matter of.
So
I was reading ahead.
I need to click on the annual statewide?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So
Where are we going?
I'm just going to look at the monthly stats really
Which
fast.
is no, that's not. This is
No. The next one up, the annual state library report.
this one here.
Yeah. Now click document.
It's really the monthly
And then tell it
statistics.
to open. Is actually
Ah.
our.
There we are.
There we go.
Thank
This
you.
used to be much easier before I got involved.
No, that's right.
Kelly used to do it. Then they made it, they brought it down to our level, and
Oh, yeah.
even with help, it's confusing now. So, I thought our circulation was lower than last year, but it looks like I read that wrong. I don't know what I was looking at. It looks like it was higher than last year, and our foot traffic is higher than last year too. So, you know, we're swimming along. Our statistics look just fine. We're in the ballpark of what we've always done, and we're just swimming along really well out there. So I don't think that I need to
Fortunate.
say too much about monthly statistics. But then, do I need to click on something else for you guys to see the state report?
And just what would have been our statistics.
Monthly statistics?
Yep.
Okay. So I shared this with you last year, so you've seen it before. And I don't know if you have any specific questions on it, but they ask us to provide them with all sorts of information. And then the other report, the Library District Advisory Council report that we fills out, actually is the one that asks us how well we're doing in accordance to the standards.
Question on that one.
Yeah.
I mean, it's clear why we're deviating. Is there a place that they ask why we're not meeting the standard?
what you see is what you get, pretty much.
Interesting. Okay.
Um,
Because, I mean, honestly, we're doing very good, except for number of volumes.
and we're not that low on that.
No, we're really not.
Yeah.
Congratulations on staff. We got smart staff. But yeah, it's funny because when you look at it, it's like, ooh, well, okay, we're off there, but that's because of the space we're in.
Yeah, we're doing great on our hours, and I hope that we can maintain that in the future. Staffing, we need 18, supposedly. We have 11. We do a great job with what we have. If we had more people, honestly, I don't know what we would do them in that
Yep.
space. So that would be a problem. The volumes, that number is going to be fluctuating, obviously, because we continue to add and we continue to detract from the Jackson collection. So we still have 2 people going up every Thursday to look through what we have stored at Jackson campus, so that we do not have to do that all at the very end. Just devote some resources to it now.
And that is a good clarification that number is total volumes owned, not available at the Carnegie.
Yes, that's a very good clarification. Thank you.
Does it say in storage in the catalog? And
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it does. It doesn't even, it has them in storage, but they don't even show up in the catalog,
This goes
Claire,
red if
at all.
if this
Yeah.
number is less than this number.
No, it's just total.
And then,
It's just for the total.
please briefly report on any changes or improvements. Our statistics around the number of programs we offered this last year went up by an incredible amount, like 50 programs or something, and we served almost 2,000 more people. And so that was due to adding a lot of kids programs. We doubled the number of story times. We added some craft programs, and our YA programs were pretty much new last year as well. So that's really made a difference. And I just want you to know that not every library does all the programs we do. Like Hillsborough, I just learned, vast, huge Hillsborough doesn't even offer YA teen programs at all. They have a teen area. They do not have a teen librarian. Well, neither do we. We just have people we assign to that area.
Enough room for a high school in one of those.
I know. And so, I feel like, we want to fine tune ours. We want to make sure that we're offering the right programs. We want to get more kids involved, but at least we do it, So I was kind of floored to learn that. I spent all day at another public library directors meeting, which is like an annual gathering of as many public library directors in the state that can go. And you learn a lot of interesting things because part of our day is spent just going round table and just saying what's going on at the library. And it's really very interesting. So, and always really valuable. People are doing some amazing things out there. It makes you feel good, and it also makes you feel inadequate all at once. And then because we're going through our stuff at Jackson, and because we are in a small place, we are really turning over our collection pretty well. Don't you think, Linda? Doing a good job of that? So that's great. Okay, now does the library have a formal written collection development policy? Yes, we do. Number 9, do we have a long-range strategic plan? Yes, we do. I don't want to tell you how old those things are. Next on my list of things to do is to review a bunch of policies and get them to you guys for a review. But I need to look through them first. I had hoped that I would have had time to bring some of that stuff to you tonight, but I didn't really have time. So the strategic plan, we have kind of this bulleted thing that should be relatively easy to update. Our goal really hasn't changed that much as far as it comes to facility, and we still need one, et cetera, right? But our collection development policy actually was last revised in 1998. As you know, since then, collections are not even the same animal. They're completely different. So it's really important that we don't just have things, but we've updated them. Now, you guys have helped revise and review some things for us, and that was the internet policy, the behavior policy, and the little kids policy, like you need to be with a parent kind of thing. So, but we need to look at some more things.
Is collections policy at all facility dependent?
On I'm going to have to look at it. It's not really like how much, it's more of like what you have, what you collect, what's your criteria for weeding, how people challenge that, which we don't have much going on here. Which is one reason it's so old, because we haven't really had to look at it. But it just needs to be looked at in light of all the types of formats that we have these days that didn't even exist in 1998, and how much more electronic information we have. So I will commit to looking at some of that stuff this next month and bringing you some in November, because this is October, isn't it?
We got
Yeah, I know, right?
It's Thanksgiving and then Christmas soon.
I know it. It's just a short slide. It's just a short slide, yeah. And so that's that report. Those two reports are always done every year about the same time, which is actually really, really helpful. Kind of brings the year to an end. And then the state library stuff gets posted online at some point, and we can go, and if it means anything to us, we can compare ourselves to other libraries. What you guys need to always remember, if you ever do that, is it's never really comparing apples to apples, because we don't really know how things are different at other libraries, how their funding is different, like even the difference in between funding, like with what cities provide for their libraries. It's just vastly different, and it can make some amazing differences in what the libraries provide. So anyway, are there any questions about those reports?
Yeah.
Okay.
On section B, digital or downloadable collection, ebooks, 5.13, number of units, library to go listed here. I assume that the first figure is like last year.
This is 11-12.
Well, no, 30,174, and then there's another column.
That's a previous year. This is previous
This is
year.
previous,
This is
that's
current
this year. Okay, thank you. That's the way it goes.
Great.
Because I didn't want to scroll all the way back to the top.
Okay.
That was my question.
Thanks, Karen.
How to read that thing.
Yeah, and that's
You're so
like,
smart.
because we're part of that consortium, that's
Yeah.
actually every title that's available to us through
Sure,
that
I
consortium.
understand.
It's not like we own those or anything.
Okay, so it's going in the right direction, it's just reading it wrong.
At least
Okay.
they don't take shelf space.
Thank you.
And we're still discussing, though, getting a separate collection going for Clackamas County. Because we can buy more, but we haven't until now. Because the ebook thing is so, there's an articulateness for you.
Well, that's the Google, Amazon, Apple fight that's going on.
Publishers.
Yeah, all
Yeah,
that.
Publishers.
Publishers, the book publishers that
Nooks
publish all that
books
stuff,
and
everything, yeah.
Crooks.
So, yeah,
Excuse me, I didn't see.
I think you did.
I did.
it's okay. You're only recorded for posterity.
So a sideline on the report, when I was going through all the history stuff for the library, in storage, we have the state library report going back to about 1920, which is wonderful because it gave the name of all the librarians. You could see their salary.
Yeah.
You could see our hours.
Oh, that's
and
fascinating.
Some keeper had hung on to every single state library report back
Wow.
to probably the first one. And they're actually very informative.
They
to
are. There's a
look at,
lot of
especially over a
information in
range of
these.
time.
Yeah, there's a lot of information in these for sure. That's fascinating, huh?
You wait till they come out.
Maybe we should look it up for the birthday.
We just need to get stuff out of storage.
It actually was requested. I just need to find out where it is. Because we also made space for it up in your place, so we could move it over, what we needed to move over, or look at it here first or whatever.
It's in the top secret off-site storage.
No, yeah, no. Well, we have to get clearance from the boss first. But anyway,
Yes.
other questions on that?
All right. Any other questions on any of the reports? Hearing none.
Great.
Moving on. Linda, Friends of the Library report.
I don't know, is your little
I don't
red
know.
light
Yes,
on?
Is it-
red lights on here.
Great, thank you for asking. I always forget to look at that.
We just had our meeting today, and so I wanted to know that we're in the midst of our bylaw review. We didn't do anything today, but we did it last month. It's on the agenda for next month. Our annual meeting is Thursday, December 6th, and you'll be getting invitations, and please consider joining the Friends and coming to the annual meeting. We have volunteer hours in the bookstore, 15 people at 346.8 hours. At the farmer's market, 11 people had 80 hours for a total of volunteer hours of 426.8, and a year-to-date total of, that's 11 months, of 3,921 hours, .75.
All right.
Keep moving on.
Oh, foundation report.
We had a meeting on September 24th, and at our foundation meeting, we had an insurance agent come in and talk to us about the insurance needs of small foundations. And so it was very lightening to all of us that we probably need some insurance. And so,
And how much it would cost.
a lot of money. A lot of money. We need more than we have. I mean, we have now, but I mean before. So, every time we have an event, and if we plan out our events wisely, then she can get us better deals and all this stuff. So, but it was a very eye opening. So,
And the reasoning behind needing that insurance?
so that we don't get sued. One thing, and so with people for the liability. So if we have events, people don't get hurt.
Personally,
Yes.
she pointed out, not just as a board, but each of us personally could be held liable.
True.
And
Yeah.
that people might even resist joining the board if they felt, if they had a lot of wealth or whatever, that they want to protect their,
Also
Themselves.
to protect the money.
yeah, and the actual money.
So somebody doesn't walk off with it, or something. Something.
All kinds of things could happen that you never think about.
A lot
Yeah.
of that goes on now.
Yeah. It was really, she said, it was a big eye opener.
It was really
to
good
me.
to do
Yeah.
that. I don't know what made me do it, but it was
Yeah,
time.
it was good.
Okay. Are there any
Yeah.
proposed future agenda items?
Okay. We wanted to talk about the survey a little bit more, I think, didn't
Yeah,
we?
I could. I've been cranking away on the thing, discovering how to use the monkey, Survey Monkey, and finally got it down to it. And then I had to try to put all these graphs into something that you guys could see, and didn't get it done. Interestingly enough, in the middle of importing JPEGs of these graphs, so you could see how the various people voted on things, they decided it didn't like JPEGs anymore. It only wanted TIFFs, so I had to convert all of my JPEGs into TIFFs, and that was done at 11:30 last night, I think it was. So I didn't get anything done. I thought I was going to have it done for today, but the top of the agenda is that we've promised the people who signed up for the survey and said they wanted to be in the drawing some kind of a prize. So we have to decide what that prize is, and
Well, I have one prize, and I never really actually thought I would get much more than one. One would be enough,
yeah.
And it's a gift certificate to Singer Hill, and Vicki delivered it today. But it's how do we go about selecting
how do you
this
draw
person? How do you draw electronically? Exactly.
But I found a site that you put your list in there and it does a randomization of your list.
Great.
But I was wondering if the Friends would like to chip in for everybody who participated, some kind of a little gift certificate at the bookstore, and that would give them a free book.
How many respondents, and do you have mailing
153 respondents.
153.
No, we would not.
Okay.
I'd be happy to contribute a certificate or two to the second and third place drawing winners.
All right. Yeah, all right.
That would be great.
So we got 1, 2, 3.
So we'll
taken
do
care of.
that with the randomization
we'll
thing.
take care of it.
Okay.
But then there's do we want to publicize any of the results of this? And the newsletter, the new electronic newsletter is
Yeah.
certainly one way, and the website. And I'm thinking that it probably takes more than just my pea brain looking at these things to come up with the words that says this is what we discovered from the 153 people who, or is that enough?
Yeah, and so I was looking at this just yesterday or something because I was thinking, well, the other part of this is, we did the survey for a reason, that it could help inform our mission rewrite and our strategic planning and that stuff that we had been working on as a kind of a group before that. Remember, we went through that exercise and all that stuff. So I need to get back to kind of wrapping some of that stuff up. And I was looking at this and I'm like, well, the survey is fine, but we have 153 respondents and most of them 75% of them are women, 60 plus, basically. So is that representative of our community? And, when I think about, for instance, the Storytime thing, it doesn't feel representative of who comes to the library. It feels representative of who fills out surveys. Do you know what I mean?
Well, that's usually a problematic issue. With
Yeah, and so I don't know how to overcome that.
Okay, same question I seem to be running into with many, many groups. Computers are wonderful.
Yeah.
I'm in love with my iPhone.
Yes.
But anytime something is not multimodal, it's not as valid, because you are right, you're appealing to a certain sector. Put out some paper surveys.
We did. We only got about 4.
Were we putting them in every checkout,
Well,
or?
I don't know.
Okay, because I didn't realize it was in paper mode.
Yeah.
But it's, that's still 151 came back electronically, which is interesting. An incentive after story hour for moms to stay and fill it out.
Well, I can't babysit for that many.
That's
kids,
true.
You know?
Does the county still do that once a year survey, or I don't know how often, where you had to give something, everyone who walked in the library, everyone who came to the reference desk, we had to ask them something, and
Those were just to see what counties, that was for the mix
okay.
ratio.
That
That
was-
was to see what counties.
We could do something like that, though, have actual people talking to everyone who comes through, handing it to everyone, maybe talking to each person.
Well, I like the idea of like a verbal survey, but I don't think we couldn't get away with like this
No, that's
list.
true.
If we could like pick out maybe, 5 questions or something that we think pertain to parents or something like that. I don't know. We could have people like try and, hand them out, like even on a sheet, or even verbally ask them, downstairs. We could do something like that.
Yeah, you'd have to keep it short.
You'd have to keep it very short.
The report that you put out to the public should be about 8 generalized
Yeah.
bullets, basically. There's way too much data there or
Oh, yeah.
information. to
Right,
find out.
yeah.
Or way too much, or not enough. I mean,
Or
that's the way I look
not
at
enough
it.
from the, good mix of people.
As I pour over those numbers, I see that there are probably the more significant findings are the places where people didn't respond very much. Like spending for ebooks was way down, and you'd think with all of this multimodal stuff coming on, it would be much higher, but it's not. So that's a
Well,
curious.
and
That's a
and-
curious.
yeah, and
thing.
maybe that's very indicative of that age group or
Let's say that's
something.
Well, even the
Profile
young
of
people
respondents.
want to spend money on ebooks or electronic stuff, and
And maybe, but that could be for so many reasons too. That's the other thing. It doesn't. We didn't really ask why. We just said, it could be because they don't associate getting good ebooks at the library because we can't buy them either. So
Preconception that ebooks don't cost very much. Don't cost like paper books.
right.
I don't think people realize.
Yeah. So who knows? So anyway,
So where we don't feel like we can draw a valid conclusion because it's not a cross-section, could we take it down to maybe 5 questions and maybe get some volunteers to broaden the survey? I mean,
Well, yeah.
talk to younger people coming in, talk to parents.
I think we could do that. I think we could look at the age group that mostly answered and then go through and see which questions we think would apply to, like the story time, like some of those things would get different answers from different age groups.
Well, and talk to parents with kids, not just parents. I mean, obviously parents bringing their kids to story hour,
Yeah.
but if you could get a nice range of just parents with kids.
every age group except the under 20 had kids, even the seniors. So,
They have them.
There goes the parenting the grandkids
Well, yeah.
generation.
I have them
yeah.
too, but
well, I'm just saying that all, except for the under 20s, who are the kids, I guess.
Right. Well, thank God they didn't have any,
all
right?
the rest of the groups
Yeah,
had
that was a
kids at
good
home,
answer.
Thank
okay.
goodness.
Okay, so
Okay,
let's
so-
take another look at that.
Yeah, because I wouldn't want to draw conclusions probably from a lot of the feedback right now without a broader.
No, yeah. Okay.
Okay. Any?
So future, that's in the future.
That's the future. Okay. Any other future agenda items? Seeing none, the meeting is adjourned, and we will now reconvene in executive session to conduct deliberations with persons designated by the governing body to negotiate real property transactions.